welcome to Notes from a Songbird podcast with Myra DeShields Farrell. Today I'm in my car and I'm driving to work and I'm being safe. I just want you to know that. So I'm not going to look at the camera. I'm going to just focus straight ahead. And every now and then if I hit a stoplight or a stop sign, I will definitely look into the camera just to engage. But I really wanted to get back on and take the opportunity to discuss the cost of lessons. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to be a good singer. Now, if you want to play around and do certain things and just have fun with it, that's a different story. But if you want to be a person who's engaged and really learn to sing, I'm going to give you some honest feedback and tips that will help save you some money along the way as you explore lessons. So in our last episode, I was supposed to give you the cost of lessons, and I got so wrapped up and passionate about what I was talking about, in addition to what I said I would talk about, I missed just that little bit, and I want to come back and make sure I fulfill that. So that shows you I go back and I watch to make sure I'm giving you exactly what I said I would. So in any event, the cost of lessons. So think $1 a minute, right? This is 2026. People are doing things differently. But in 2025, I know for a certainty, I crunched numbers, I looked at certain things. 30 minutes or a 30-minute lesson is pretty average for some people who just want to get their feet wet. They want to start out. Now, I'm giving you ballpark someone, a teacher who is going to work with you. That's a steal. $30 for 30 minutes. That's a steal. That is not the norm. You more than likely see somebody who will charge $60. They can charge upwards of $60 or $45 for 30 minutes. That's just the way it is. They're very costly for singing lessons. And these are people who have taught maybe at music schools and they just know their instrument. They can teach. They know it very well. They are very successful. This is not just Joe Schmo down the street, right? There's also mid-level. When I say mid-level, I'm talking about people who have been successful. They have testimonials. They have students that have gone on to do some pretty cool things. And they can say, hey, I helped that person get there. They have a history. They have a resume. And those people a lot of times can very well command a certain amount. Well, what is that command? They can really, it's open to them. They could charge you $60 an hour. They could charge you a little over that for an hour. You get it, like they can command whatever they decide they want to charge. They pretty much own their craft and they make you pay for it. Now, when we get to professional level, when I say professional level, these are all professionals, right? In some point as far as teaching, but I mean professional to a point where it's heightened to that point that person can train celebrities who already have the ability to sing. These are more like your advanced. These individuals can charge swallow $200 to $500. Yes. Yeah, for a lesson. Some can charge $100 a lesson. They've either been teaching for such a long time, they have people under their belt. Sometimes people also make you pay for the fact that they have a name in the business. So if you're someone who's pretty well known and you've worked with celebrities, you're on these different platforms of social media platforms, and you're well known and everybody's clamoring to work with you, now you're in demand. And once you're in demand, you can charge whatever the heck you want to charge. That's just the real deal. Now, for those starting out, I don't recommend that, of course. Who can afford it? So let's give you some tips that are really good for real world application. Perhaps there's a music school. Perhaps you're young and you're you're in a school that teaches music, get into those classes. Sign up, make sure your schedule has it, whether you're high school, whatever, get into those classes, because those classes are going to catapult you forward. And they're going to save you money because you're talking free, and free is always the better option. However, you're a beginner, you don't have those options, but you want to get into it. Go and look at the first couple of episodes to see where you stand as far as being serious. And if you create your vision board and you say, you know what, I'm serious, I really want to start, then I'm going to give you a couple of ideas. Look at local services in your area. Don't underestimate friends and family who might know someone who knows someone who knows someone. There's a lot of online teachers that teach very well. You can look them up and look at their information, look at their page, and see what they're teaching and how they're teaching. And then the style. The style is important too. If your teacher is boring, if your teacher is boring, has no life, drains you, and it's a chore you feel like going to classes every week or bi-weekly, not going to work for you. You can set how often you want to go to that teacher. If they tell you, every other day for you to be strong and this, that, and the other, to see them, you're just a beginner starting out, you've got to determine, is that what you want to pay for? You've got to determine what is it that you want to pay for and how fast you want to get there. I say slow and steady wins the race, but be disciplined about it. So if you get an assignment, attack the assignment. Because the more you do, the better you're going to become. Singing is about doing. You can't think, I'm just going to become this great singer and I'm good. No, you literally have to think, I have to become, I have to do, I have to perform, I have to conduct, I have to imitate, I have to have some action to be able to get where I want to be. So determine what you have in your wallet, what you can reasonably afford. Sometimes, I will tell you how some people have paid for their lessons. Sometimes they've got a little part-time job that serves their hobby. Or they find a way to cut costs from other things. Let me give you an idea of how to be creative with your money. You have all these different, I would say, applications on your television. When I say apps, you get apps because you download these apps for different TV channels or whatever it is that you stream. So let's say streaming vehicles. There's Sling, there's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's Disney, there's all of these platforms. Nothing against them. I'm not speaking against any of these platforms. What I'm saying is, how much of that are you socking away for television watching where you could be pursuing a hobby or the hobby of your singing that you really want to pursue? It starts off as a hobby, then maybe it becomes a passion, and maybe it becomes something that starts to pay you some coins. But you've got to develop that craft. So how serious would you be? I know if it were me, I'm going to move those platforms aside if it means the cost of me being able to take live lessons. I'm not saying move all of them. Maybe pick your best out of a certain amount. Go back and look, how much of something do you watch? Maybe you're not watching a certain network, but you're paying for it. Really think about it. Think about where your money is going, because that could be money that you could sock into your lessons. Of course, finding somebody first who is going to be or satisfy those lessons at a cost. So, don't be surprised if you find some lessons out there that do want to charge you $45 for 30 minutes. Listen, you got to do your research. You got to see what people are charging in your area. Go to your local area and find out what are they charging, and then see how do I budget accordingly. Then save up a little bit so that when it's time for those lessons, you don't have to stop. No, you want to be a serious life learner. When I say life, take lessons for life. Take lessons to the point where you get to what you need to get to. Some people learn different. Okay, you're probably wanting to know. So, I was immersed in music. I was immersed in high school classes. I was immersed in, middle school classes. I was immersed. So if you look at that history from 9 years old all the way up until a certain point of high school, that's a long time for me to learn technique and to sing. I went out after that, and I went out into the streets. I took what I learned into the streets, and I wanted to be an active learner, meaning I now want to apply my technique outdoors. I want to go outside, and I want to apply what I'm learning. So in that sense, that's what you want to pay attention to. What is it that you want to take from what you're learning? And do you want to go now and explore your technique to see, hey, is this technique worthwhile? I don't suggest that you do that right away. If you listen to my history and how long I've been doing this, it took me a while. That's why I said take your time. You will know. Don't be in a hurry. Don't think, 15 lessons and I'm good to go. Stop playing. You're going to need a lot of lessons. But I promise you, if you take the lessons, you get there. You can also take lessons from imitating. What do you see happening with singers on YouTube? Really good singers on YouTube. I'm not recommending that you do that because you should know your voice. I'm saying you do that maybe when you've learned that you have a little voice, you have something to work with. You can be doing that in conjunction of your lessons. Exploring music. Oh, I like that sound. Can you imitate that sound? Think about that for a little bit. Some people that I've noticed, and I've worked with different people all over, I've noticed that they started out, they didn't sound the best. But after taking lessons, they sound much better than when they started. And I can see where they have really put in the work. So imagine if you see someone like that and they continue down that course, they're only going to get better. And now I saw a person who once would say, oh man, this is really good. I think I want to pursue that. They were talking it and speaking it out and saying, I would like to do that. And now they're doing it. That's the difference. Moving forward, taking that vision board and making sure they're meeting their goal. So I'm giving you these lessons or these tips today so that you understand what it's going to take to find a good teacher. And we talked about that in the last episode, finding a good teacher, how to find a good teacher, but what it's going to cost for lessons. Because the cost, finding a teacher and then paying for a teacher is a whole different ballgame. So I'm just sewing this up in a nice little bow for you to put those episodes together and to take these tips going forward. Also, one last tip. Once you think you get to a point, let's say you've taken lessons and you've taken lessons for a while and now you're ready to get out there. Where do you go? How do you do it? We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about discipline, because you're going to need to pack that if you want to get better. Those are the talking points for our next episode. They won't be done from my car. But I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I wish you a good day, good morning, good evening. I never say these in order because I don't know where you are. But hopefully you're using these tips and tools. And if you do appreciate them, please like, subscribe, and share. Share with someone who's starting off. Share with someone who is looking. Sometimes you're not looking for this information, but somebody you know is. Please introduce them to myself, Myra DeShields Farrell. I have been, as I mentioned, singing for 20 years. I have changed my range. My vocal range is completely different than when I started. I was an alto all day long, and now I'm in the sopranos. I'm doing things that I never thought my voice could do, because that's world application. I have applied myself. I have gotten out here. I've been disciplined. I've done all the things that I'm giving you, and that's why I've been successful. So I hope you can use this information going forward. And please like, subscribe, and share. I am giving these freebies out there because I'm looking at what I learned. Nobody's telling anybody this information. Nobody's telling you how to nobody's doing this. I have not seen anybody telling you real world how to go about doing things. And I did not have this growing up. I had to hit the pavement and I had to struggle on my own. I didn't have the starting point. I didn't have the ability or anyone in my corner to tell me, hey, this is how you navigate. I am helping you navigate as much as possible. You can ask a bot to tell you all kind of things, and that's great. But at the end of the day, you're going to want somebody who real world applied, who learned and applied and used the tools and went out there and did the thing. So, and is still doing the thing, because I'm still a singer. I'm still performing. I'm still honing my craft. I'm learning and getting better each and every time. And when I take that stage, I am a performer. If you want to go and look me up, you can go to my Myra DeShields Farrell page on YouTube. You'll see where I've done live performances there, and how I'm always singing. I'm always performing somewhere, and I get hired. I am a paid performer. So I'm trying to get you down that road where eventually, at some point in your life, if that's what you choose to pursue, we get you there. But you've got to listen and take the tips, and you've got to put in the work. So we'll talk soon. Talk to you later. Bye. From Notes from a Songbird, Myra DeShields Farrell.